So, what if the reason you're just completely exhausted at like 3 in the afternoon isn't actually because you ran out of calories,
Right.
but because your body literally cannot decode the information you sent it for lunch?
Oh, that's such a good way to put it.
Because, we are constantly bombarded with nutrition rules. I mean, you open any app right now, and there is some new, highly complicated superfood you supposedly have to buy.
Or a massive list of things you can never, ever eat again.
Exactly. Or like some complex supplement stack. It's just overwhelming noise.
It really is. And, it creates this immense anxiety around something that, biologically speaking, is meant to be completely intuitive. We're
Yeah.
basically operating in this environment of, like, engineered scarcity and fear,
Mm.
just constantly stressing about what to cut out so we can achieve health.
Which brings us to our mission for this deep dive today, because
Uh-huh.
we're looking at a stack of source material that just cuts right through all that
It really
noise.
does. It's so refreshing.
Yeah, it offers this foundational, remarkably simple approach. The core premise here is that true wellness is about returning to foods that our bodies actually recognize on a cellular level.
Right. The things we evolved to eat.
Exactly. And the entire philosophy is based on upgrading your meals by adding foods rather than, perpetually restricting them.
And that shift from deprivation to abundance, it fundamentally alters your psychological baseline.
Oh, totally.
I mean, it moves you away from white-knuckling your way through a diet
Yeah.
and towards, like, a sustainable biological synergy.
Okay, let's unpack this because I want to give you, the listener, a way to think about this. Think of traditional diet culture like an exclusive VIP club where you're just constantly kicking guests out, right?
Yeah, you're just standing at the door saying, no carbs, no fat, no sugar.
Exactly. You're restricting everything. But this approach instead is like throwing a really welcoming party where you just invite the absolute best guests. You just keep adding whole foods until the room naturally balances itself out.
I love that analogy because when you talk about just adding things, the immediate pushback from people is usually, wait, if I just keep adding food to my plate, aren't I going to overeat?
Right. Like, won't I just gain a ton of weight?
Exactly. But the framework here isn't about eating more volume indiscriminately. It's about upgrading the biological operating system.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of running a really aggressive antivirus program that, like, deletes half your files and slows down your computer, which is traditional restriction.
Yeah, the VIP club.
Right. Instead of that, you're just installing a superior operating system that naturally optimizes all the background processes.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when we look at how the source material strictly defines these whole foods,
Yes.
because we're talking about ingredients that are as close to their natural state as possible.
Oh.
Unprocessed, unrefined, completely devoid of artificial additives.
The sources explicitly refer to them as the building blocks of nutrition.
But, the critical distinction they make is that these foods aren't just inert building materials, like they're active cellular information.
And that is the absolute key to all of this.
Right, but I want to challenge that concept of information for a second. Because for decades, the prevailing wisdom for anyone trying to manage their health was just thermodynamics.
The old gas tank model.
Exactly. Calories in, calories out. Food is just fuel. So if I eat, say, 3,000 calories of high fructose corn syrup versus 3,000 calories of whole foods, the laws of thermodynamics still apply, don't they?
Well, sure, thermodynamics absolutely still applies to mass and energy transfer.
Right.
But treating food merely as a unit of thermal energy, that completely ignores the endocrine system.
Okay, so what does that mean practically?
It misses the biological reality of what actually happens when that energy enters your bloodstream. Because food is code.
Code, like computer code.
Basically, yeah. A calorie of heavily processed syrup and a calorie of broccoli, they send entirely different epigenetic signals to your liver, your pancreas, and your brain.
So it really comes down to how the body interprets the data.
Exactly.
So it's like eating whole foods is like handing your cells a perfectly clear open source instruction manual, like a step-by-step guide. Your biology has spent 2 million years learning how to read.
Yes. And heavily processed foods are the exact opposite.
It's like taking a garbled, corrupted text message full of like autocorrect errors and forcing your system to figure it out.
That's spot on. When your body encounters synthetic emulsifiers or artificial additives, the enzymatic receptors, they literally just lock up.
Oh, wow.
The
Wow.
system doesn't know how to metabolize it efficiently, and that triggers an inflammatory response.
Which is wild.
What's fascinating here is how that corrupted data manifests physically in your body.
Right, because nobody is actively aiming for brain fog and lethargy.
Exactly. But when your cells receive clear instructions via the fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants in whole foods, they work in absolute synergy.
So they actually know what to do.
Right. ATP production in the mitochondria is optimized, and the source material draws a direct causal line from this proper cellular function to the things you actually feel day to day,
Like what?
like sustained energy, clear-headedness, and overall physical resilience.
Yeah, yet we just constantly feed our systems corrupted data, and then we wonder why the computer keeps crashing at 3 p.m.
Exactly.
So if we know we need to send clear code, what are the specific commands? Because the source material breaks us down into 3 distinct categories of foods we should be adding to the party.
Let's start with the first command, which is basically running systemic maintenance.
Right, category 1. And this is entirely focused on vibrant, non-starchy vegetables.
Yes, the primary goal here, the shorthand, is simply to add color to your plate.
And the sources specifically highlight dark leafy greens. So we're talking spinach, kale, Swiss chard. They call them nutritional heavyweights.
And that makes perfect sense biochemically, because when you add those, you're delivering heavy doses of magnesium.
Which does what, exactly?
Well, magnesium is a crucial cofactor for ATP energy production. And alongside that, you're getting folate, which is necessary for DNA methylation and cellular repair.
Wow, okay. And alongside those leafy greens, they put a massive emphasis on cruciferous vegetables.
Right, the broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, and this is where the concept of food as information gets highly specific, doesn't it?
It really does. These cruciferous vegetables, they don't just provide passive vitamins. They actively support the body's natural detoxification pathways.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because you hear the word detox today, and I mean, the wellness industry has completely hijacked that word.
Oh, completely. It's a marketing buzzword now.
People are dropping like $300 on proprietary juice cleanses or these magical celebrity-endorsed powders.
Right, assuming their bodies are these toxic dumps that just need to be aggressively flushed out.
Exactly. But the source material is pointing out that plain, inexpensive broccoli from the regular grocery store is what actually drives true biological detoxification.
It's true. The wellness industry often sells you a solution to a problem your body is actually already equipped to solve.
As long as it has the right materials, right?
Exactly. Your liver has this incredibly sophisticated 2-phase detoxification system. But phase 2 detoxification specifically requires phytonutrients to function.
Wait, phytonutrients from the broccoli?
Yes. Cruciferous vegetables contain these compounds called glucosinolates, and when you chew them, they break down into a chemical called sulforaphane.
Okay, sulforaphane.
Right, and that sulforaphane literally upregulates the specific enzymes in your liver that bind to toxins and excrete them out of your body.
So just chewing a piece of broccoli is essentially flipping a genetic master switch for your liver's defense system.
Precisely. And this is why the actionable advice from the source is to aim for these vegetables in at least 2 meals a day.
2 meals a day. Okay.
Yet with a really heavy emphasis on consistency over perfection.
Because you have to keep that switch flipped.
Exactly. Those detoxifying enzymes in the liver, they have a half-life.
Meaning they don't stick around forever.
Right. So if you do an extreme 3-day juice cleanse and then you just eat corrupted, heavily processed code for the next month, your liver enzymes downregulate again.
They just shut off.
Essentially, yeah. But consistently adding, a handful of greens or some roasted Brussels sprouts twice a day, that provides a steady, reliable stream of sulforaphane and magnesium.
Okay, so it keeps the biochemical pathways open and running optimally over the long term.
You got it.
Awesome. Okay, so the liver has run the maintenance protocol, the pathways are open, and we've cleared out the cellular debris. But, clearing a vacant lot isn't the same thing as actually building a house.
No, it's not.
We need actual structural materials. And that brings us to the second category of guests we need to invite to this party.
Category 2 focuses on high-quality, clean proteins. And the defining metric the source relies on here is quality.
Quality over everything.
Right, regardless of whether you are an omnivore or if you eat a plant-based diet.
Right. So for the animal-based side, they point to things like wild-caught fish, organic poultry, and eggs. But let me push back here on the plant-based side for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
If the goal is high-quality structural repair, and I'm strictly plant-based, aren't I operating with a biologically inferior repair crew? Because we constantly hear that plant proteins are, like, incomplete compared to a piece of wild-caught salmon.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that incomplete protein concept is largely misunderstood.
Really? How so?
Well, it's true that a single plant source might be low in one specific essential amino acid, but your liver actually maintains a pool of amino acids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so as long as you are eating a variety of whole food plant sources, and the sources specifically list lentils, beans, chickpeas, and seeds, your body is perfectly capable of synthesizing the complete proteins it needs for repair.
So the body basically acts as, like, the general contractor, just pulling the necessary materials from the amino acid pool to build the infrastructure whenever it needs to.
Exactly. And the source actually calls this protein category the repair crew.
The repair crew. I like that.
Because I think we need to move past this outdated idea that protein is only for hypertrophy.
Right, like just building massive biceps in the gym.
Exactly. Protein isn't just for bodybuilders trying to bulk up. It is the foundational daily maintenance crew.
So it's physically repairing the micro tears in your muscle tissue, synthesizing neurotransmitters, and what really stuck out to me, regulating your hormones.
The hormonal regulation is arguably its most critical function for day-to-day wellness.
Because if your hormones are a mess, you're a mess.
Right. When we talk about clear-headedness and resilience, you simply cannot achieve those states if your hormones are oscillating wildly.
Yeah.
Clean protein directly regulates ghrelin, which is your primary hunger hormone.
Okay, so it suppresses it.
Yes, it keeps you satiated while simultaneously providing the amino acids necessary for all that structural repair you mentioned.
So it prevents that feeling of being completely distracted because you are just aggressively hangry at, like, 11 a.m.
Yes. Whether it's wild-caught fish or just a bowl of spiced lentils, this high-quality protein stabilizes your endocrine environment.
It fills in the structural potholes on your body's highway and basically regulates the traffic.
Exactly. It repairs the tissues, keeps the hormonal signals balanced, and prevents those aggressive hunger spikes that just completely derail your cognitive focus.
Okay, so we have the blueprint, the system is clean, and the repair crew has their structural materials. But any construction crew needs a reliable power source to actually keep working throughout the day.
They do.
And that leads us to the third and final category we need to add.
Category 3 is whole, intact grains and seeds.
Right. And the specific examples they provide are things like oats, quinoa, brown rice, chia seeds, and hemp seeds.
Yes.
And I noticed the source is very deliberate in separating these from the generic, highly demonized term carbs.
Oh, very deliberate. Because these aren't just empty carbohydrates. They are incredibly nutrient-dense fuel sources.
And the operative word there is intact, right?
Exactly. When grains and seeds remain in their whole original structure, they retain their fiber matrix.
Okay, fiber matrix.
And that fiber acts as a highly sophisticated, slow-release delivery mechanism for glucose.
Which is what our brain runs on.
Yes, glucose is the primary fuel for both the brain and the body.
You know, to visualize the difference between these intact grains and the refined carbohydrates that basically dominate modern diets, I like to think about a city's power grid.
Okay, I'm with you.
Eating refined carbs, like a bagel made of ultra-processed white flour, is like sending a massive localized power surge through the grid.
Right, or like throwing lighter fluid on a fire.
Exactly. It hits the system hard, it burns incredibly hot and fast, and then it blows out a transformer, which is basically your insulin spiking to shuttle all that sugar out of the blood.
And then you're left in a total blackout.
Exactly. You just crash.
Yeah.
But eating whole, intact grains, that is like a steady hydroelectric dam.
Or a solid, dense oak log on that fire.
Right. It provides a constant, reliable, measured output of power that just keeps the lights on across the whole city all day long.
That analogy maps perfectly to the actual physiology of your gastrointestinal tract.
Really?
Yeah, the source material highlights this stark contrast between the blood sugar roller coaster of refined foods and the sustained focus provided by intact grains.
So how does it actually work in the gut?
Well, with something like oats, you are consuming a specific soluble fiber called beta-glucan.
Beta-glucan.
Right. And as it digests, beta-glucan actually forms a viscous gel-like substance in your gut.
Wait, a gel, like literally a physical gel inside your stomach.
Exactly. This gel physically traps the glucose molecules, forcing them to be absorbed through the intestinal wall at a much slower, much more controlled rate.
Oh, wow. So you aren't just relying on your pancreas to pump out insulin.
No, you are using the mechanical properties of the food itself to meter the energy release.
That's incredible.
This is what provides that steady hydroelectric power you mentioned. It prevents the massive insulin surge and the inevitable crash that leaves you exhausted.
Okay, so we have the three pillars. We've got the vibrant colors for detoxification, the clean protein for cellular repair, and the intact grains for a metered, stable power supply.
That's the formula.
But we have to talk about implementation now, because intellectually, this makes perfect sense. But practically, attempting a massive dietary overhaul on a Monday morning is usually a recipe for failure by Thursday, right?
Oh, almost always. And that brings us back to the brilliance of the source materials addition philosophy.
Right, the welcoming party.
Yes, the actionable protocol here is intensely practical. You do not overhaul your diet.
Okay.
You pick just one of these categories this week, and you simply add one single portion to your existing meals.
So if I normally eat, I don't know, a sandwich for lunch, I don't throw the sandwich away. I just add one handful of spinach or maybe a side of quinoa or some pumpkin seeds.
That's it. That's the whole intervention to start. And the most critical instruction from the source: do not expend any mental energy worrying about what you are cutting out.
Focus entirely on the addition.
Exactly.
Okay, I have to stop you there and play devil's advocate for the listener for a second.
Go for it.
Because if my internal power grid is constantly surging and crashing because I'm eating a standard diet of processed foods, is throwing one single hydroelectric dam into the mix really going to do anything?
You mean, is it enough?
Yeah. Like, is adding one serving of broccoli to a plate of junk food really going to stabilize the system? It sounds, honestly, almost too simple to be effective.
This raises a really important question, and it speaks to how biological momentum works.
Okay.
Is one serving of broccoli going to instantly offset a terrible diet? No, of course not.
All right.
But this ingredient-by-ingredient approach, it isn't about immediate perfection. It is about shifting your physiological baseline.
Shifting it how? Like, what actually changes?
It changes your microbiome. When you add that single serving of spinach or quinoa, the fiber in those whole foods makes it down to your large intestine.
Okay.
And down there, it feeds specific strains of beneficial bacteria.
Ah, right.
As you consistently feed those bacteria, they multiply. And as they multiply, they produce these things called short-chain fatty acids.
And what do those do?
They communicate directly with your brain via the vagus nerve.
Wait, really? Your gut bacteria are literally sending text messages to your brain?
Yes. You are physically changing the signals your gut sends to your brain.
That is wild.
And as the source material points out, a fascinating outcome occurs when this happens. You naturally begin to crave whole foods more and more.
Wait, naturally crave them?
Yes. The bacteria that thrive on fiber, they literally send chemical signals making you desire more fiber.
Oh, wow.
So you aren't forcing yourself to rely on willpower to stop eating junk food.
Which never works anyway.
Exactly. By gently upgrading the biological environment, just one addition at a time, you are initiating this physiological snowball effect.
So you change the gut flora, which changes the chemical cravings, which naturally changes your behavior.
You got it.
It's an incredibly elegant feedback loop, and it completely removes the guilt and the stress of traditional diet culture.
And once your body actually feels the difference, when that steady power output improves your sleep architecture and stabilizes your mood and clears the brain fog, your biology inherently starts asking for the high-quality code. It is just returning to what the human body intuitively knows how to process.
Wow. Okay, to bring this all together for everyone listening, optimizing your health doesn't require spreadsheets. It doesn't require punishing restrictions, and it definitely doesn't require you to be hungry all the time.
Absolutely not.
By simply focusing on adding vibrant vegetables for systemic maintenance, high-quality proteins for cellular repair, and intact grains for steady energy, you are handing your cells the exact, uncorrupted instruction manual they evolved to read.
Beautifully summarized.
Which brings me to a final thought for you to mull over today. We just discussed how, according to the source material, your body will naturally start craving these whole foods once you simply start eating them.
Right, it's a biological imperative.
Yeah, so if that is true, if we are biologically hardwired to naturally desire these foods, what does that say about how modern, ultra-processed, engineered foods have essentially hijacked our neurobiology?
That's a huge question.
Right. The garbled code hasn't just confused our metabolism, it has temporarily overwritten our natural instincts.
It is a very sobering reality, but honestly, it's also incredibly empowering.
Why empowering?
Because the neuroplasticity of the brain and the really rapid turnover rate of the microbiome, it means that this hijacked state is entirely reversible.
Exactly. The question isn't how broken the system is. The question is how quickly you can retrain your own biological programming.
Yes.
And the science suggests you can start resetting that entire system today just by making the choice to add one single serving of real intact food to your next meal, be it some broccoli or a handful of chia seeds.
It really is that accessible.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope this empowers you to look at your next grocery run not as a stressful navigation of restrictions, but as an opportunity to add some incredibly high-quality code to your system. Have a great day and enjoy upgrading your plate.